the right to self-determination, which is the cornerstone of all fundamental freedoms, that has been denied to the people of Jammu and Kashmir and also to the many people in different parts of the world. And we have some of the speakers from different regions of this world. So I'll start first with Sardar Amjad Yousaf Khan, who is the Executive Director of Kashmir Institute of International Relations in Islamabad. He is well known in the human rights systems here and is a keen Kashmir watcher. Mr. Amjad, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Dear panelists, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this meeting. I will not go on the human rights report. First, I'll try to discuss the recent and the prevailing situation in the region. As you all people have been following international media, that there has been a build-up between the two nuclear states of India and Pakistan. The Indian Air Force attacked the Pakistani region, and then there was a retaliation from the Pakistan Air Force, which resulted in a disaster, I would say, and it was leading towards a nuclear war in the region. What was the reason of that? The reason was that there was an attack on the Indian Army convoy by a suicide bomber on the Indian side of Kashmir. And this suicide bomber was a 20-year-old boy, a local boy, Sardar. And why he became a suicide bomber? Initially he was a student. When he used to come from the school, he was many times stopped by the security forces, by CRPF, by border security forces of the Indian occupied Kashmir, Indian occupation forces. Then he became a stone pelter. Then he was tortured by the CRPF, by the BSF. And the Human Rights Report last year, which came on the 14th of June 2018, the Indian response. This was the first ever report by any human rights institutions or the UN Human Rights Council's commission or subcommission. And the Indian response on the report was that they said this is a malicious campaign against India. They alleged all the human rights system that it's a one-sided report. That was the time when the Indian state should have started a dialogue process within Kashmir, within region, because Kashmir is a disputed territory. And there are UN Security Council resolutions on right to self-determination, on plebiscite. And it was decided that Kashmiris will be given a chance to decide about their future with the impartial plebiscite under United Nations. And the Indian refused. And they are refusing. Why? Because they think and they know that Kashmiris are going to vote against them. And this UN report, it's 49 pages report. 41 about Indian occupied Kashmir and 9 about Azad Jammu and Kashmir, which is the Pakistani administered Kashmir. You can go through Google, you can find this report, you can read this report. That Kashmiris are facing the world's largest brutal force. They have been killed, enforced disappeared, use of pellet guns, blinding, people of all ages, right from 1.5-year-old girl to 90-year-old lady, sitting in their homes, got pellets and lost their eyesight. Rape has been used as weapon of war by the Indian occupation forces. And when the United Nations, the UN Human Rights Commission, Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, issued a report, detailed report, and asked India to cooperate, both India and Pakistan. Pakistan said, yes, we will cooperate. But the actual problem is on the Indian side. The India said that that is an integral part. No investigation. If Indian response was positive at that time, to allow the international community, the international human rights organizations, the UN fact-finding mission, why India is hiding that? Because they know that if there is a plebiscite, if there is a referendum, Kashmiris are going to go vote against them. Now Kashmiris are suffering on the line of control. There's a cross LOC firing. What international community has done so far? They have done conflict management. They have managed a conflict, a nuclear conflict. They put pressure on both India and Pakistan not to move ahead on the war. But the situation on line of control is that there is a displacement, there are killings, there are injuries, the property of the people. There is a large displacement on both sides of line of control due to the cross LOC firing. I asked the international community, why don't you go for conflict resolution? Why conflict management? Kashmir issue needs a conflict resolution mechanism. There are different models. Pakistan have welcomed India for a negotiation on the investigation on Pulwama issue and negotiation for all issues including Jammu and Kashmir. And we are not against any negotiated settlement. We support negotiation between, there are three parties to the conflict. It's an international conflict. But there are three parties to the dispute. India and Pakistan are two states, but the actual party is the people of Jammu and Kashmir, even according to the UN Security Council resolutions. Because the right of vote is given to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. We have the right to decide whether we want to accede to India or Pakistan. And we support the negotiation process. Mr. Moderator said, what next? Next in this building, establishment of Commission of Inquiry as recommended by the High Commissioner. And next, in the region, for a peaceful settlement, for a peaceful South Asia, for a prosperous South Asia, is a resumption of composite dialogue process between the two countries. And Kashmiris, from both sides of line of control, are the part and parcel of this process. Because if India and Pakistan are going to talk about trade, we don't have anything to do that. We support that. But if they talk about Kashmir, then we are the principal party. I thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sardar Amjad Yousaf Sahab.